My coworker won't respect a transgender student's new name, so I won't respect hers. I'm a high school teacher, and around 3 years back, a student and her parents visited our school right before the school year started. This student had been with us since kindergarten under the name Jacob. Now, at 15, she identified as transgender and chose the name Janet. Her family fully supported her. Together, they met with the school's administration before the start of the year to discuss and plan the best way to manage her transition at school. Overall, it was pretty easy. Janet did not have a PE class and was not an athlete, so locker rooms weren't an issue. She was, obviously, not comfortable using the boys' restroom and knew a lot of girls would be uncomfortable with her using the girls' restroom. An agreement was set up, with Janet's full participation and acceptance, that she could use the single-person restrooms in the clinic or main office. The only issue was her name in our grade management system. The way the law worked in our state, students' educational records, which our grade management system was considered a part of, had to be in the student's legal name. We could not change Jacob to Janet without a new birth certificate or legal name change document. Since Janet was not legally transitioning yet, a workaround was found. In the grade management system, there is a place we can put notes about students. Usually, they are reserved for things like please contact mom on her work number during the day, or dad may not pick student up without mom's permission. They weren't official records and were just used to keep teachers, administrators, and staff aware of important issues regarding that student. So, to help Janet, a note was placed that read, Jacob wishes to be known as Janet. Please refer to her as such in all communication and interaction. Then, school started. Most of the kids had no issues switching from Jacob to Janet or respecting her new identity as a girl. Gen Z is great that way. The teachers all made the switch with only minor hiccups. A few of the older teachers misnamed her or misgendered her out of pure habit of having known her for years. But, a sincere apology and quick correction kept things running smoothly. Janet was happy. Her parents were happy. Everything was good. Until the second semester. At the end of fall semester, Janet finished a one-semester elective class with one teacher and was switching to a one-semester elective class with Old Bitch, a notoriously difficult woman to have to share oxygen with. Old Bitch was about 5 minutes from retirement, and 10 minutes from the grave, based on her constant complaints of health issues. She was also stuck in her ways and refused to change her routines, opinions, or habits. Old Bitch was also widowed and had recently begun seeing a widower who worked on our maintenance staff. This is important. Right before Christmas, and the end of fall semester, Old Bitch and the widower maintenance man got married. As with many newly married people in the world, she went about getting her name changed throughout the school, payroll, computer systems, door nameplate, etc. She was no longer Old Bitch Jones. Now, she was Old Bitch Smith. One day, shortly after second semester started, Janet came to my class, which she had right after she was with the newly renamed Old Bitch Smith, looking as though she had been crying. I got the class started on an assignment and pulled Janet into the hallway to talk. There, she confided that Mrs. Smith kept calling her Jacob, despite half the class correcting her and standing up for her. Mrs. Smith, apparently, hand-waved away the mistake by saying that she just forgot and would try to remember next time. This went on for weeks. Every time Janet was in Mrs. Smith's class, she'd refer to the student by her former name. Every time she did, the students would correct her and remind her that the student's name was Janet, not Jacob. Every time she was corrected, she'd just say I forgot. I'll try to remember next time. Students, including Janet, went to the administration to voice complaints. Admin talked to Old Bitch and reminded her of Janet's transition and new name. Time and time again, she was asked to please be respectful and refer to Janet appropriately. Every time, Old Bitch hid behind her age and habit, saying I'm trying, but I'm an old lady who can't change habits easily. I'll try, but it's just an honest mistake. I may have been willing to buy this excuse, if it weren't for the fact that another teacher, who I am close with, told me that Old Bitch was getting on her high horse in the teacher's lounge one day and confessed that she had no intentions of gendering Janet appropriately or using her new name. He was Jacob for years and the system says he's Jacob, so that's what I'm going to call him. So, it's time for my revenge. You don't get to disrespect students and get away with it. As a gay man, it's especially personal to me when LGBT students get disrespected. But, since Old Bitch wants to play, I'll play. From that day on, I only referred to her as Mrs. Jones, instead of her newly married name of Smith. I made sure to do it loudly and in front of students too. When she'd correct me, I'd just say I'm sorry, it's just habit. I'll try to remember next time. It infuriated her, but there wasn't much she could do. The added bonus was Gen Z's inherent love of screw around and find out. Without me involving a single student, pretty soon about half the student body forgot that Old Bitch had gotten married. Of course, they all promised to try to remember next time. It was glorious. Every time someone called her by her former name, Old Bitch would get pissed and rant about people disrespecting her. She tried to get admin on her side, but the nice, if a bit spineless, principal just said well, I'm sure it's just a mistake. No one would intentionally call someone by the wrong name. For the rest of the year, she fought a losing battle about respecting her new name. I left that school for other reasons over that next summer, but from what I was told, she fought that battle until she retired this past May, coincidentally, the same year Janet graduated.